ago, he's like, he actually, he got it under contract too, but he read the whole purchase agreement to him. I go, I can't believe it. I don't even know what that says, you know? I just read the most important things, the stuff they want to hear, the stuff they want to, you know, see. I mean, if you like, I could pull up a, I mean, I could do it real fast if you guys want me to pull up a purchase agreement and show you exactly how I do it.
I usually just do the bullet points
Yeah,
and say,
let's
hey,
roll.
paraphrase it, you know, for each bullet point.
Yeah. Hang on one second. I'm just gonna pull up one of my purchase agreements if they're e-signing it, and I'll share my screen. I'm sorry, I'm slow. All right, boom.
Just so you know, my applications are probably pushing 18 pages. My leases are pushing 18 pages. And so one thing is I never sign a lease with a shotgun to their head. I want them to have it the day before, and then I'll say to them, did you read it? Even if they said they didn't read it, I don't care. I gave you the choice of reading it. And then once I did that, then I go through the bullet points, and it still takes me an hour to go through the bullet points with them.
Wow. All right, so here's what I'm gonna, let me, all right, let me go to one of my closed deals again. All right, here's one that we just, this one here. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the purchase agreement. I'm in my Freedom Soft, is my CRM. I love it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so if I had this pulled up in, or if I'm in front of them face to face, this is one that we did together, Kevin. All right, so I would tell them, say, look, up at the top, you're the seller, and I'm buying it under, you know, Kevin and I are buying it with Brooks Property Solutions. Here I got your address, the lot number. You can see I'm buying it for $100,000 cash. Closing costs here, you can see I'm paying all the closing costs. You're paying no closing costs, and the property is vacant. And so at the day of closing, we'll get the keys at closing. On this particular property, there's no inspection period. So if there was an inspection period, I already told them that before. I probably would not even mention that, right? And then I'll tell them here, this one, we were face to face and he wanted us to do some scribbling on it. So anyway, then I said, there's no inspection or other contingency. We're buying it as is. Again, we're paying all the closing costs. We're gonna close this on or before 6/21. And any taxes owing, water bill owing are to be deducted from the seller's 100,000, and the remainder will go to the seller. We had to emphasize that because we knew he owed a lot in that kind of stuff. So anyways, look at this. We wrote this on the 10th. Actually, it took us a while to get this signed, right? Because we were missing them. We tried to e-sign it, and then he wanted to show his attorney, which was fine to us, which he really didn't have an attorney, of course. So we ended up going to his house on a Friday or Monday. Yeah, we went there Friday. I think it was a Friday or Saturday, and he signed it, and we closed it by that next Friday. So it was like a 5 business days. We closed the deal. It was a tough one to close, but we got it closed. It only took us 5 days. We ordered title right away. That was important to him, is to get it closed fast.
Todd,
Yep.
when did that just happened this month? How much you got it for 100,000?
Yeah.
Dude, that was my first. Remember, I told you about my first deal that the guy wanted me to rip up or give him back the contract.
Was that him?
That was him, and that was the address.
Yeah.
We had it for 91.
Yeah. Well, we got it for 100 and sold it for 120.
Okay, my goal was 100 or 91, and then we were gonna sell it. We were gonna sell it for 110.
And that would have, you know, how long ago was that?
That was about 3 months ago.
Yeah. So 110 was probably what I would have sold it 3 months ago. So things are different now over in that area.
Yeah, but actually my business partner wanted to buy it. So he was just gonna give me the assignment fee or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of messed up actually how it went down.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's why we closed it so fast. We knew this guy was wishy-washy. He had it for sale by owner, I think it right. Yeah. He had it on Zillow for sale for 150,000. And the pictures looked okay, but it definitely wasn't a 150 house, you know. It really wasn't 100. We just happened to have the buyer in our back pocket of we knew that's why we sold it so fast. We pretty much had the buyer come back and look at it before we had the contract signed, just to verify. Because I didn't want to get it under 100. I didn't want to get it under contract for 100 and not be able to sell it. You know, I wanted to sell it first. So that's kind of how we did that one. We brought the buyer through. They wanted it. And then we put it in high gear to get that contract signed and get it closed. Because that's, you know, the guy was wishy-washy. And again, we didn't have time to try to wholesale it the traditional way, you know, and pitch it out to everybody. We get back through it and walk through it. He was having no part of that.
Did you do anything in particular to knock him down 50,000?
When we talked to him on the phone, we pretty much said, look, we're going to be in the ballpark around, you know, depending on the condition, is probably closer to 100,000, you know, somewhere in that area. And then when we talked to him, he pretty much said he would take somewhere in the 90s, right? So our first initial offer was in the 90s, like 91, you know, somewhere around there. And
Like
and
high 90s.
yeah, then he said high 90s, and we ended up, because we really had it at 95,000, but we were going to pay the taxes and water. And then after we could kind of looked at that, we decided that wasn't going to work. We sent him a contract at 95. We talked to him. He said, no, I can't do this. I got to do 100. And they said the only way we'd do 100, it kind of backfired on him, but the only way we'd do 100 is, you know, you're paying the taxes and water and anything else, you know, we'll pay all closing costs, no commissions. And he said yes. He actually had like 25 blight tickets also on the property that added to be close to $7,000. So at the end of the day, he actually was happy. He ended up walking away with like 85,000. But again, it was the blight tickets, the taxes, and the water is what got him. But you know, it was no argument, nothing like that. So just to give you an idea of what I did on this one. And let me ask you guys first. If you wholesale a deal, you get the buyer statement and seller statement, you know, before closing. Let's say you're lucky enough, you're lucky you get them a day before closing. You should have them beforehand. Usually we get them a day of closing. Chris, what do? Do you send that to your seller? Do you call your seller? How do you usually do it?
Yeah, I tell title I want it no less than 48 hours prior to close. And I'll send it to buyer and seller. I'll send it to the buyer, just the buy side, and then just the sell side, I'll call the seller and you know, talk them through it and send it if they want to see it before, then send it over.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I'd go through it and then either email it to them or whatever. But yeah, I'll send it over. It's not a big deal to me. I haven't had any issues with that. I just make sure that I'm sending the sell side to the sell side and the buy side to the buy side.
Yeah, don't screw that up. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
had one that day we met, Chris. Remember at the title company, I said I can't go in there. I
Yeah.
had one where the buyer, I was buying the house for 72,000. I sold it to for 78. It was a house you could clean up and list it. I was gonna buy it myself and just list it for 100 grand. But anyway, long story short, I actually had the deal at 60. That's all she wanted. And I couldn't get her to commit. She had to talk to her sister and this and that. And then an agent she was dealing with called her and said they would pay 70. So I got my foot back in the door because I knew I could sell it. I didn't make a ton of money, but I made, whatever. I made 6 grand, which is good. But long story short, and I closed it fast, all that good stuff. But long story short, she's at the title company, and the title company shows her the buyer statement. And they usually don't do that, but whatever they did. And they say, what? Why does this say $78,000? And she kind of got goofy. She signed everything, and she called me. I called her. I said, yeah, I got to get some money to fix up the house. I got to, I go through a private lender. I get some money, I kind of told her that story. And she goes, we could just close this at 78 and I'll do that. I said, no, we won't. We had a contract at 72,000. You're getting your money. You're getting way more money than we originally agreed upon in the beginning. And I'm happy to pay the 72. Of course, I want it for 60, but it works out good for you and me. And I closed it fast. And you're at the closing table. So she ended up closing. But so back to our other. So when I have a closing, and I never get them 48 hours. I wish, but my title companies don't do that. I got a closing tomorrow, and I still don't have the documents.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
I know. Yeah, but it's Detroit, unfortunately, some of these companies. But anyways, the seller statement. I always give the buyer statements, 100%. I check them. I make sure the water bill's on there. If there was a lease, you got to make sure the rent, prorations of rent, the security deposit. I got to make sure my check is correct. If I'm partnering with someone, we got a check going that's correct. All that good stuff. If the buyer's paying all the closing costs, no, normally I got to make sure that's all in there, all good to go. And if the water escrow is crazy, well, the water escrow won't be on that side. It'll be on the seller side. Anyways, so I sent it to my buyer. Now my seller, I never send it to him. I don't review it with him. I do not. Okay. And the reason why is I was in the, well, it might not correlate, but I just had a lot of experience. You do that and they're not getting the money. Like I think the last one we did where the guy got $85,000 when he thinks he's getting 95,000, I don't think he would have showed up to the closing. All right. So when he's sitting there at the title company and the title company, they know what we're doing and how we're doing it, and they're explaining it to him why. And I'm not even at the closing. I might send my partner there, or we might be close by in case we need to come in there and fix things or write a check or do something. Sometimes, you might have to write $1,000 check to get it to close or something, but usually we do not. And the title company, that's, of course, we don't get the closing statements in time, but they do take care of us at the closing table. They know how to talk to the seller usually, and they know how to get it to close because that, they're making money. And if it doesn't close, no one's making money. But that's just my experience because I've seen them blow up where they don't even get to the closing table because a lot of times it's different. They might have a they always owe more taxes or water than they think, in my case, that I see.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it that way, but my thinking is to have them not be surprised when they get to the closing table so that they do close and they
Yeah.
don't just throw their hands up and go, oh, this is this isn't what we agreed to, and but yeah, it's probably better to deal with it at the table because you're there with pen in hand.
Yeah, they
You know,
already got the
and
money.
you have a third party with you. It's not just you. The title company's there explaining why.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it's you did it to them.
yeah, that
And
makes
and they already spent the money, in their mind, you know what I mean? The money spent. So and then if you got a husband and wife and you got to try to over the phone explain it to both of them together, it could get messy. But that's just my experience. It's working for you. Keep doing it. That works for you. But if it changes, I used to do it that way. I used to let them know and try to
yeah,
go over everything and explain why and all that other stuff, but not anymore.
that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my first wholesale deal I did, that one I was telling you about on Roselawn.
Yeah.
We used Legacy Title Company,
Yep.
and me and I partnered on that deal with Steve Londo,
Yep.
and that was why we used Legacy, because he was using them or whatever. But yeah, it was me, Steve, the two sellers, and the two buyers, and the closing agent, all at this little like 3-foot round table. I did not review. I guess this is kind of where I got my thing for 48-hour statements or whatever prior, because I did not get to review the closing package, nor did I really know that you really should. That was like my first deal, really. But anyway, so we were halfway through signing shit, and they pulled out this acknowledgement form, an acknowledgement of assignment.
Oh,
and,
nice.
and
Yeah.
it's spelled out, yeah,
Right.
here's the assignment is 18 grand or whatever, and they're like, what is this 18 grand? Oh man, I was just we got it closed, but it was a clusterfuck.
Wow.
I don't think Legacy does that anymore, but yeah, I've done that recently actually, where everyone before it even still set the closing, everyone involved had to sign that document. I said, that's ridiculous, but it is what it is.
It's already disclosed on the freaking purchase agreement.
Yeah. Yep. They're, 100%. It's, yep.
And then out of curiosity, Todd, with those blight tickets, does that appear on title, or you have to go down to the city and check that?
And then in the city of Detroit, well, the title companies, they actually check it now.
Okay.
And I don't know about other cities, but I know in the city of Detroit, you could go online and you could check it. Okay. If you want me to show you, because it's not
No,
easy.
it's fine. I know where it's at. I was just wondering, did it show up on title?
Yeah. It's not easy, but you could go just Google it and it'll take you a second to figure it out, because it took me a second. But yeah, I checked the blight tickets. Blight tickets, they do not they follow the property,
Okay.
and they don't have to be paid. And the title companies, even if they insure this and everything, they're not insuring against those type of tickets. So if I was an investor and I'm buying properties, I would make sure I would personally call and check to see if there's any type of blight tickets on the property. Okay.
Ultimately affect you.
Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of title companies make it a practice to check them now. But I could tell you a year ago, they never checked them.
Right. I can see that.
So the blight tickets, they follow the person or they follow the property? Because I was hearing both, that they if it's not under that person's name on there, like if it's under a different owner's name, like back in 2015, and it's now a different owner, that they're not responsible for it.
I don't think that's the case, but maybe the new owner could fight it. I don't think so. I think it follows the property, but I'm not 100% sure, because if it followed the person could take their chances and say, I'm not paying it at closing. Why would the new buyer want it paid? You know what I mean? So I would say it follows the property, but I do not know to be 100% sure. I just know from talking to my title company, and I don't remember exactly how they did it. I'm a wholesaler, so I really do want to protect my buyer anyway, you know. But another thing I do, Chris, because you said you had the buyers at the closing. Now most every title company will do e-closings, and since the buyer doesn't have to notarize anything, we could just set it up for the title company to send them the docs to e-sign. They wire their money, and then at 3 or 4 o'clock, they do that in the morning. At 3 or 4 o'clock, we do the closing with the sellers. The docs are already in. So that's usually how I do it. I try not to get my buyers to come to the closing.
Yep, I learned my lesson the first deal. So yeah, I do the same thing, buyer e-signs, you know, first thing in the day or whatever, and then
Yeah,
sell side closes later on. Yeah, for sure.
for sure.
Yep, I think, you know, I don't know what the latest is. I heard that they were potentially passing some new regulations or something. I'll have to look into it again. Regarding seller e-sign.
Yeah, what about
Yeah.
notarizing on Zoom or something like that?
Yeah, where yeah, because so I mean, as far as I know, the sell side requires a wet signature, and you know, notary, whatever. But yeah, I think they were talking about doing e-sign on the sell side because they can do like an e-notary also.
Yeah,
And I don't see why, you know, I don't see why not.
I
But
heard about that, but they're not, my title companies are not doing that as of yet.
yeah, I don't think mine is either. But yeah.
Kind of want my sellers to come to the closing because I want them, if there's any questions, it gets handled, you know, right. You know, and they sign the docs, you know.
Yep, I agree. Yep.
Awesome. Any,
But yeah, I learned my lesson that first deal, having everybody's all at the table. It's like,
yeah,
oh, that was weird. And yeah, so yeah, that's what I do. Get the buyer to close first, and makes it much easier.
yep,
So
awesome. Anybody else have any questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes, this effort. I had question someone wanted to talk about. What problem do you have when you have a house that sellers trying to sell a house, they have a contract, but they have renters there, and it seems like, in your opinion, does it affect the value? It's hard to sometimes get somebody in to see the house. They don't want most people going to the house, so you get like 1 or 2 shots at bringing somebody in. How the best way you handle with renters? Basically, I'm getting a lot of that right now. People saying they want to sell, but they got renters. It's hard to get the price on there. Because I actually have a house under contract on your page, and it's maybe just a little tough. It's 14095 Hendricks. But I think I got 60. I'm about to probably reduce it because I'm not really hitting a whole bunch of bites on it. But they got the renters in there. And I couldn't hardly get the pictures because they had everything scattered. So
Right. Well, you're breaking up from what I could hear. I don't know if anyone else was breaking up for them too, but I think I got what you're asking. So it sounds like you only have maybe a couple opportunities to get back into the house or to get into the house. So what you got to do, is that correct?
yes, that's correct.
Okay. And it sounds like the house is a
Yeah, that's
mess.
correct.
Okay. And if the house is a mess and things like that, so what I usually do, I'd get the deal under contract. You got to try to get it at a good price because of that situation. There are people that will buy sight unseen, then, but it's hard, right? So it's got to be either a killer deal to do that, or you got to pitch this deal out, get it under contract, let them know, look, I don't want to bother the tenants a whole bunch of times. So what I'm going to do is once I get the title work back, and I'm going to do my little due diligence stuff that I need to do, is we're going to make an appointment that's good for the tenant. You don't necessarily need to be there, sir, and to do our walkthrough. Okay, we're going to do some measurements, we're going to check the windows, and it's not going to take, long, but we're going to I'm going to have probably my property manager with me, my project manager with me, things like that. And you pitch that deal out and you get people that can look at you could send it and give them enough information and they can see if it's a deal or not. All they got to do now is visualize or go walk through it. And then you set up that appointment because you only got maybe one, maybe two shots to get back inside this house. So you got to bring 3 or 4 people at one time that seem to be serious to get in that house. You don't have, we had one the other day, and I kid you not, I had 25 people that it was going to be a zoo at the house. I had so many buyers coming through this house. And I think they only had like 5 or 6 people, which is a lot of people walking through a house, plus a couple other people, the wholesalers, and 5 or 6 other people, buyers walking through a house. It was crazy, but I would suggest that's how you got to do it, in my opinion. And unless it's a killer deal and you could take it down yourself, and then you can control it a little bit better. You could give the tenants $50 to let you walk through it. I've done that before. I even gave them $100, say, for your inconvenience. I got to bring someone through. I know we already came through. Would that work for you? Boom, yes. All right, I'll bring it with me when I'm there. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes you got to do that.
What are some hot areas to go and driving for dollars?
Okay, perfect. I definitely got that idea. Yeah.
Charlene, what cities, what are you looking? What are you thinking?
Well, I've gone into Hazel Park. I've been doing that. I'm just wondering if there's any other hot spots I should give attention to. I have some properties in Detroit. I haven't found anybody that's buying in Detroit. So I've been looking, I'm just trying to be sure I'm in areas where deals are being made.
Right. Well, if you got some deals in Detroit, I got a killer buyers list in Detroit. Okay. So you got to send me a text, email me. Okay. If you got some good deals, and I'll look at them with you. We could JV them together. Okay.
Sounds good.
But so Hazel Park's a tough spot. If you find a deal, you could sell it, right? But it's got to be, I sold one. I had 3 deals in the last 2 months in Hazel Park. I got 2 right now. I sold one recently for 65 grand. I got one now that I'm selling for 78 grand. And I got another one I'm selling for 110.
Okay.
But anyways, when I go driving for dollars, I have the app. I know some people use batch driven, and I use Deal Machine. It's a driving for dollars app. Okay.
Okay.
I think they're both good. And but anyway, I always use that app every day. If I'm driving and I see a house that says for sale by owner, I'm calling it, I'm putting it in my Deal Machine app. If I see a rundown house, roof looks bad, the yard looks bad, it just is an eyesore, that's what I'm looking for. I put it in my Deal Machine. And if it's an iffy one, I put it in my Deal Machine. And then I take those, either I call them, I put them on my list, get their phone numbers and throw it in my dialer and start calling them or hand dial them. So, or you could call them right there when you're in front of the house. Okay. But really anywhere is a good spot. You know, you're looking, I mean, I'm just trying to, Hazel Park's a tough spot. You're going to work that area. And if you could get one, you know, it's a tough spot. It's a
Okay.
saturated area where
Okay,
people are selling for or not selling for too much money. You know, there's houses, brand new houses being built on these lots. They're going for 250. Other houses are selling for 180 when I could have bought them for 30 grand 2 years ago, you know? So, yeah.
So in my opinion, Detroit, Detroit is the best city to drive for dollars in because that's where you're gonna find the most rundown houses. Driving for
okay,
dollars is you looking for distressed properties. When I'm in like suburb cities, it's really hard to find rundown properties that somebody didn't already get to. You're gonna find
okay,
that all day in Detroit, and people are more motivated to sell it. That's my opinion for driving for dollars.
okay, thank you.
And South Warren is a good spot. You know, you right between 8 Mile and 9 Mile, the Warren side. That's a good spot too, because you get a lot of those houses that don't have basements. They're right up next to each other. You'll find a lot of beat up houses there, you know.
That's good.
And there's a lot of investors that won't invest in Detroit, but they'll invest in South Warren all day long for some reason. I'd
Okay,
rather go to Detroit.
so I will get all my Detroit information. I'll cut in touch with you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely, for sure. For sure. All right.
Okay, good night.
Oh, good night, Charlene. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Any other questions? Nope. Awesome, awesome. All right, usually, guys, I have a couple of guys with me, or everybody. Carson Demick, he's out of the Flint area, and he does a little bit down here too in Detroit area, but mostly Flint, Genesee County. And then Michael Heater, in my mind, he's the king of cold calling. He's really, really, really good on the phone. And he's also became an agent here at my office at Villa. And he lives in Saginaw area, but he's in Flint every day and he comes down here. He'll work anywhere. Usually they're on the phone, on this Zoom with me, but I think they just got back from out of town or something, so they didn't make it today. But all right. If we don't got any more questions, we'll call it a night. And I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. And feel free to reach out during the week, call or text me. Text is best, probably. And I could do my best to help you, or we could work together.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your time and knowledge again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take her easy.
All right. Thanks. Great to see you, bro.
Yeah, take care. God bless.
You too. You too. Hey, Randy, I'll call you.
Yeah, no problem. So I have, I'm looking at 3 properties this weekend as well. So
Cool.
that I might have there's a good chance I might get it under contract.
All right. We got to talk about the ropes in tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. And on Tuesday, I have another closing as well next Tuesday. So I'm hoping it closes because that'll bring me up to 3 closings this month.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What did your seller say?
On the Robeson,
Yeah, for the closing, are they going to be able to make it at 6?
yeah, they'll be able to make it at 6, but yeah, as long as they send them the documents, they're gonna eat, or are they gonna e-sign the documents and then some
Yeah.
of the documents?
Yep.
Okay,
So
so,
what's,
yeah.
you got the email address?
yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, did you text it?
Yeah, I texted it to you.
All right, so I'm gonna,
I gave him his phone number as well, so, and the guy's name.
all right,
It's actually his wife, so.
all right, let me look for it real fast. Hang on, Randy. I thought it was a lady.
It is a lady, it's his wife. I'm dealing with the husband. And then,
So her email is that an L, right, or an I?
let me look at it again. I'll look at it with you.
The I, right?
Yeah, that's an I.
All right, it looked like a little L, you know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, hang on one second. Let me just take care of this. I'm gonna copy you on this, on the email, okay?
Mm-hmm.
See if we get docs yet. What's that? We have not gotten docs yet, but anyways, I'm gonna compose this. Shanta. All right, now I'm gonna send it to you and Davin. And what's your name, Randy? All right. Robeson, buyer info. All right, so the buyer will be at your office tomorrow, which is what, Thursday already? Jeez.
Yep.
At 6 p.m.
Yep.
You can email the majority of the docs for her to e-sign. Her email is ISRAANDERSON1 yahoo.com. All right, ISRAA, right? Yeah, A. Anderson. Okay, got it. Please